What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Track. Thanks for tuning in. This is episode number 70 with Carson Mumford. Carson, first question. Tell me a rider who was number 70 at some point.
Travis Preston.
Ooh, that's wow. Wow. What year was that?
06.
Or what? For real? Like you really know that right out of the gate like that?
Dude, I'm all about the old stats, dude. Come on.
Well, I was thinking RC.
Yeah.
70.
Yep.
Kenny was 7. Wasn't Roxon 70?
Yep.
Travis Preston.
I hated old school. I hated old school right there.
All right. Dude, thanks for coming on the show. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time, talk about a lot of things. But before we get started, I need a weather report. How's SoCal right now? I heard you guys have had a fun day.
SoCal is underwater. The rain, it's windy. So no riding today, no riding tomorrow. But I got a full day in on Monday and I plan to get a full day in on Thursday and Friday. So not too stressed at the moment. And if it rains too hard, I'll head up to the high des.
I was going to say, I was in a group text today with some people that were not happy with the weather, and the conversation moved to the high des. It's like, oh, well, if it's bad down here, then it's just high des heaven. So, and I know you're a high des guy, so you got your spots picked out? Are you ready to head up the hill if you have to?
Oh, yeah, I'll go hit up Kiefer or ride at my own track. So I actually spent most of November up on the high des, so kind of just be like going back to home.
Dude, I want to get into this off season for you. A big change, and we'll get into a couple different things over your beginning of your pro career, end of your amateur career, because you've just had a weird, windy road since you've turned pro. But you're on the Bar X Suzuki team. Larry Brooks is involved. I know how much work they put into that motorcycle. I've heard great things. Let's start there. Like, are you happy with where you're at, who you're around, the bike? I mean, are you pumped for this season?
Oh, it's been so good. Like, I'm honestly sick and tired of people trying to like, oh, it's Suzuki, this and that. This is the best thing I've been a part of yet. And I've been a part of some great things. So yeah, I'm stoked on it. Everybody's been putting in so much work. I've been putting in a lot of work. So it's really coming together. Yeah, I've just been riding a lot, doing a lot of testing on the bike, which is really nice for me. And yeah, like it just seems like business as usual at the track. There's nothing really new, even though a lot's changed, and just been trying to grind as many laps as I can in.
So that Suzuki, again, there's this image out there because that brand doesn't keep up with updates and new releases and all that. But in reality, Carson, I've ridden a Suzuki multiple times in my career at different times, and I always was in love with the bike. Like, they're comfortable, they corner, they have really usable power. I know you're in the 250 class where power is everything, but from what I've heard is, dude, that bike it's just gotten better and better and better. And the people that I know are on it say, dude, I don't know what else I want. It's like, oh, it's close to perfect.
Yeah. And a lot of times people don't understand, like, with these brands that change so much, the bike isn't normally the best until it's about to change again. So for us, it's just like, we've got so many settings and things to play with that have already been through trial and error. So it was nice for me to come onto a new bike and didn't have to go through any growing pains at all. Well, I've been on other teams and stuff where you're feeling great, you're feeling everything out, you love it, and then they change the bike and it's like you start all over. It's worse than what it was before. Where here I tested the bike, I knew what I was getting myself into, and for me it was like I didn't even have to like take too long to get used to the bike because they have had so many years of testing and data on a rider my height, my size, and yeah, the book's full on knowledge over there.
I mean, you've already proven your history, but we'll go back to 08 Honda 450. Like, I mean, my favorite bike of all time, just absolutely incredible.
Comes around.
Oh, what the death trap that was an 09, man. The worst bike of all. Sorry, Honda. Worst bike of all time. And you're right, like sometimes a manufacturer gets it right, and then it's just part of it's time to cycle in a new brand, and you're like, you got to start all the way over. Yeah. Suzuki, though, is you guys have been chipping away, and again, the frame, the comfort, I know the JGR guys did a lot of work at first. Now you guys have, but I got to imagine comfort. You've got to feel comfortable. Those Suzukis, there's something about them that way.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head right there. Like, it's been great. Like, anything that they've thrown at me, it's already been tried and done before. And obviously we're still thinking of new ways to get better and better, but yeah, it's like, it's good. Like it doesn't need much.
Two things about the team we'll get into, and then we'll get into you personally. Larry, how dude, I mean, Larry's the man, right? How's Larry
Oh,
Brooks?
yeah, I mean, there's no other way to put it. He's just still a living legend. And oh, it's so nice. Like he's the same. Like he's been with the top tier athletes that have won in our sport. And it's the same there for him. He's seen it all. Like a lot of the times I think to myself, like, oh, I wonder like how Larry thought I was riding today. And I'm like, man, there's nothing I can do on a bike to impress this guy. Like he's been at the test track with do it every day. Like what is there for me to do? So when he does give me compliments and stuff like that, I really do cherish those. And when he gives me pointers, I really try and put those to work.
Because he's got that standard, right? He's got Stu, he's got the king. Like he's seen the best.
Yeah, like what else am I supposed to do?
Yeah, you're like, if he says you're doing good, you're like,
sweet. Yeah.
Right? Because I know your standard is very, very high, but
yeah,
I love that he's a part of that. You know what's weird about it, though, if I'm being honest, and I'm assuming he's going to watch this, so we're going to have to talk about it, but he's kind of been low key as far as what he's building there. It hasn't been like, hey, I'm Larry, it's me. He's been very kind of behind the scenes building this thing up it more privately than publicly. I mean, I got to talk to him at Anaheim and like just rap with him a little bit because he hasn't been trying to like self promote himself. He's like just been building this team, and it's like I feel like this team is ready to pop. And I know he's put a lot of work in, but I'm gonna have to talk to him because he hasn't really like been out there much, you know.
I mean, I think that's just how he likes things. Like it's hard to get a lot of work done when you got to make all these phone calls and maybe try and pump yourself up, when he would rather just put in the work, let the results talk. And then, yeah, it's just, he doesn't have to deal with anything. Like he just, I think he's old school in the way that he just likes hard work and to show our worth through that. And yeah, just let the results talk.
Well, let him know I'm going to come find him at Anaheim. So he can't hide forever. I'm going to come get him.
He's going to be hiding for as long as he can.
Yeah, I'm going to come get him. Second thing about the team. Got a big team. Like there's a lot of riders and there's a lot of talent. There's, you know, the young dudes coming in. Kilroy would be the one that to me is that he's the new one. You've got you're still early in your career. Drake's story is so weird. I feel like he got years taken from him a little bit with his medical issues. Schwartz has been impressed. Like you guys are building something pretty cool over there, all young, all motivated. What's that atmosphere like right now? Just having so many guys around, kind of getting ready to launch this team and take it to the next level.
It's great. It is kind of weird how like we're all so young, but I feel like between the four of us, there's definitely a lot of talent and just we're capable of so much. Like it might even be how the sport's going towards, like nowadays, like there's so many good riders that even these satellite up and coming teams are just could have breakout rides and really kind of blow people's minds. But it's been great to work with all three of the other riders, and I'm friends with them and grew up, which is, it's kind of nice that it's not my rookie year. I did get to race last year, and now this year we're kind of all on the same level playing field, and we're all just hungry and ready to go.
You know what it reminds me a little bit too, and it obviously there's different variables to this, but it kind of reminds me of the early TLD days where like it was a SoCal-based team, SoCal riders, kind of just like emerging. I think they were West Coast only, like you know what I mean? And you could tell something was brewing. And something was brewing over there. Like you had good people around. I know Ping was involved. There's a lot of people that helped get that thing going. And now look at what that team does. I mean, Barsha wins round one of the 450 class from this team that started like you guys. So do you get kind of a vibe like that like you guys are being maybe overlooked? There's something building over here. Like you guys are ready to kind of emerge and pop onto the scene and maybe no one's ready for it.
Oh, for sure. I do think that we're for sure overlooked, but I don't really mind it. Like I grew up in that era that amateurs was kind of booming again. And no matter when and where, there was always a camera on you, or whatever you said was held against you. And, you know, there was a lot of politics growing up with the teams I was on. And now it's just none of that. Like, it's just, I've been working really hard, and over the last few years, I've kind of learned what hard work is. And same with the other kids on the team. Like, we just been working really hard. And I think Larry really likes that, because it seems like a lot of kids these days, you know, that kind of how I was. Like I had a factory ride and you just kind of think, oh, I've made it. It's not the case. And, you know, like maybe it took that getting it taken away from me to kind of realize what hard work is. But I think Larry just really likes that. Like we're just working hard and kind of coming in under the radar. But I think once the season starts going and people see how good we're riding and how good our bikes look and how good the team setup is, the vibe and everything, I think we're going to lose that little undercoverness and there's going to be cameras and the whole nine back.
I like it. I see it, and I think it's coming. So that's exciting to hear you feel the same. Let's transition then into your amateur career. You kind of brought that up. Man, God, you're going to be the perfect person to talk to about this, but there's multiple ways that you can make it in the sport. You see some riders, they're factory young all the way through into the pros, and it goes on. You see some that maybe like yourself where it didn't work out. Your situation was so weird though. But you see others where like they don't really get any support until way later. There's all these paths, right? But for you, your path, again, being a weirder one where you were grabbed up early, a lot of talent, everyone knew it. But then the team and the timing and just everything kind of just entered weird for you. So can you kind of take me through end of amateur, early pro, and just, again, I don't know many stories that were like yours where the timeline was so goofy with just the way things happened, you know?
Oh, I'd have to agree 100%. I mean, definitely is a weird story. I felt like I had I had a really good amateur career, especially mini bikes. Got on big bikes, and it was kind of weird because there were so many guys on the team that the amateur program kind of was getting shoved under the rug a little bit for just a year or two. And we were riding not the best bikes, where when you looked back a few years before, the team that I was on had the best amateur program bikes, had like they showed up to win. And then for some reason, there's a lot of pros on the team, maybe management, I don't know. It seemed to not be like that anymore. And it struggled. Like I went a whole year without testing suspension, and then would show up to the races and would have to ride the stock classes and just weird stuff like that. Then had a few other riders come from overseas and joined our team, and it seemed like it kind of revamped the amateur side of our program again. But in a way, it kind of stole the attention that I needed to do good away from me again. And there's so much weird stuff that was happening. Like I was the only one on the team that didn't have a mechanic that worked in-house. So other mechanics would kind of pitch in to build my race bikes and stuff. Turns out I was getting the used parts from the amateur kids, not like all the other amateur kids got used parts from the pros. I got used parts from the amateurs just because I don't know if the other mechanics that were working with the other amateur riders didn't want me to beat their rider. It was just so weird. Like, so weird. I showed up to Loretta's my final year there, and I always left like 3 weeks early to go ride East Coast tracks, get acclimated to the heat, the whole nine. And we're driving through Texas, and they call us, hey, we lost your suspension setting. We don't even know what suspension settings on your bike. And we're like, what? Like, we're going to Loretta's. Like, this is the race. This is
the one. This is the one.
And this is the one you guys want us to win at. Like, what are we doing? So yeah, 3 weeks before, I'm struggling. Turns out I had Shimoda shock on my bike and my forks. Obviously that doesn't work. Was crashing every day. Didn't get to do that many motos. Showed up to Loretta's. I went up and requested a set gearing for my bike because of the deeper dirt. And they said, yep. And then they didn't put it on. And then I went out and smoked a clutch the first two motos. And they're like, why are you smoking clutches? I look at my bike. They didn't put the gearing on that I wanted. Obviously, I'm smoking a clutch then. Just crazy stuff. I get second at that race. I'm like, sweet. Like, terrible week, terrible circumstances, and I got second. Like, this is no big deal. I go race Unadilla just because the team's like, hey, like, your bike's in the semi. You might as well go race it. I go race still on the old suspension setting. Didn't even do that many 20-minute motos before Loretta's, so I decided to go ride 35 minutes. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm ready for that, huh?
Yeah, it ended terrible. I think I went like 16, 18 or something. Like, it was not good, but like, I was like, whatever, got my feet wet. I'm glad I did it. Yeah, then I was getting ready to do like the first spring nationals as an amateur. and go pro for Hangtown.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, just started training, riding a lot. Was getting ready for Monster Cup actually, and crashed and hurt my spleen. So was out for a while. And then, of course, my teammate goes and wins that. So then that did not help my case at all when it came to needing more attention, needing to get new parts on my bikes down there. It was like, oh, well, he's winning. You're not. Well, I've been hurt. And so, yeah, I was supposed to go pro originally before the other amateur kids, and then somehow was the last to go pro. Kept getting told, nope, you need to wait. Nope, you need to wait. Well, when you're amateur, you make a certain amount of money, and when you're pro, you make a lot more money. So I'm making way less money riding worse bikes, not getting the attention I liked. Finally had the chance to go pro, and COVID hit, so all the races get pushed way back. And then somehow the only one on the team that stopped getting paid. So because I wasn't an amateur and I wasn't a pro, just chaos, like stuff that I look back on. How did like grown men look at a 17-year-old kid and say, hey, like, we're not going to pay you. Sorry. Like, just blew my mind. Honestly, you live and you learn, obviously, but crazy stuff. Finally, the Utah races happened for Supercross, and they were making me wait on Chase Sexton's bikes to get a pro bike. So yeah, I had 2.5 weeks to get ready for the outdoors on the pro bike then. And yeah, it was a bit of a rush that the suspension was completely new because I was riding production stuff, and then finally was getting A-kit stuff, which isn't the biggest deal, but I didn't have any suspension settings I didn't really have anything to fall back on. The engine was new, but I loved it. So finally, yeah, my dream was like coming true. Like, okay, first race. I had quite a bit of time to get ready for it, but not a lot of time on the bike. Then yeah, the first round was at Loretta's, which was right at home for me. That was my last big race. And it rained, I think. It was super muddy, but yeah, I just was loving racing. Finally started getting paid again, which was awesome because yeah, I spent so long with no income. Like I was buying and selling used dirt bikes, just flipping stuff. Like, I mean, I'm kind of just like my dad. Like I'll just, if I
make it happen, make it happen.
Yeah,
figure it out.
Yeah, I got a mortgage to pay, so if I got to sell some stuff in the house, I'm doing it. Like I wasn't ever looking for handouts other than the money that I felt I was obligated to get in my contract. And then it was, I think, our fourth race in at Ironman. They kind of brought us all into the semi and told us like, hey, we're having trouble with sponsorships with COVID, blah, blah, blah. It's not looking good for our title sponsor. So we don't really know what we're going to do. We're going to try and figure it out. And I was like, okay, like I hadn't really talked to any other teams because I still had 2.5 years left on my contract. It's not something that I normally would do, is go talk to other teams. But yeah, it was weird. I was kind of struggling. My fitness wasn't up to what I thought I would be like. I was struggling pretty bad at the end of the motos, but yeah, I got, I think, 2 9s, couple top 10s, and it was a shorter series. So I just was kind of capped out on how much I could learn in such a short time. But yeah, last race, they said, hey, right before we went out and rode, they said, hey, like, sorry, this is your last day on the team, blah, blah, blah. So that was tough. Went out and got 9th that day, which was decent. And yeah, then I had to just try and figure out a ride again. But it was definitely something I've never imagined would happen, and I've never seen in another case.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, and I don't think we should just go through it all in detail. You covered it all. I guess my question is because I personally in life have been through scenarios where it just feels like it's piling up. But for me, I always just believe that it would be okay. Was that kind of how you were? Was like, hey, this is all kind of sucking, but I'm just going to stay at it. I mean, was there any thoughts where you're like ready to just collapse? I mean, just kind of take me through, I guess, the emotional side of just how you got through it, because you did. And I mean, here we are ready to get going on another season. It looks like you're in a great spot. So how did you get through that, I guess, on the emotional side?
I don't know. I think it was just how I was raised. Like, any time that I wanted to be like, okay, take this time, be sad, whatever, before you have to go do something, I couldn't. Like, I was just so angry at the whole situation, and just wanted to do better, and wanted to just show people that they were wrong for not taking care of me the way I thought I should have.
When you look back on your amateur career, I do have one specific question for you, because you are in a unique spot not everyone was. You rode that 150R, which was Barcia the first. I don't even remember the timeline, but just the Honda guys went through that bike. But correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember you being on it long. Did you get on that and then get off and go 250s kind of early, or did I'm me being a little foggy, but kind of take me through the timeline on that 150 a little bit.
I rode it for like a year and a half. I was supposed to race Monster Cup as my last race, and I got second at Loretta's. Won a lot of championships at Mini-O's, a lot of championships at Mammoth, Cal Classic. I had a pretty successful time on that, but it really wasn't that competitive of a bike. Like, on the team before that, I was pretty dominant. I'd won at every race all year, and then when I got on that, it really set me back quite a bit. And again, they kind of made some promises that it was going to be this, it was going to be that, and then kind of jumped in head first, and it didn't really, the grass is always greener on the other side, obviously, but just kind of didn't live up to the hype. Obviously, I still did win on it, and had quite a bit of success on it, but it's quite a bit harder. And just because I went from carbureted to fuel injected when I got on it, there was so many things that I went through personally that had never been tried before. Like, we had street bike throttle bodies on it, and like 450 throttle bodies on it, to KTM front ends, KTM brakes, like a lot of stuff that kids my age will never experience. So it was just crazy to learn. And then, you go to one race and you're riding, and then they take the bike back to the shop, and we show up the next day, and they're like, hey, we were on the dyno till 2 a.m. last night. We found 2.5 horsepower. And I'm like, what? And so I go out there, and I can barely ride the thing because it's so fast. Like, it just crazy stuff like that. And those years right there, I probably got hurt more than I'd ever gotten hurt in my career ever. I broke my femur a week on the bike. It came back, broke both my wrists. Came back again, broke my wrist, shoulder, like it was everything, but I still raced the whole time. And with that and the bike not being that good, it was a tough couple of years. And then I was 15 and I got on the big bike pretty early, just because I think I was a little bit over it. And yeah, they had so many bikes at the shop that were 250s that it was just easy.
Makes sense. Now, again, foggy memory, but I do have some clear thoughts on this one. But I was at that Atlanta race where it was like arena cross, supercross, amateur thing. And if I remember correctly, did you get hurt there at that race?
Yeah. So I broke my wrist a week before, and I was like, I put so much effort into getting ready for that race, and the team was pretty invested in it too. My bike was already on the semi, headed out there. I was like, I got to race this thing. Like, I'm by far the best guy. I got to do it. So I taped up my wrist and just sent it. And I was the fastest qualifier, won the heat race, was winning the main with like 2 laps to go. And I barely overjumped the triple, and I landed, my wrist just buckled. So.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I remember that. And the reason why I remember that, we're going to transition this story into just Supercross in general. I remember watching you that night, and I was blown away with the technique, the skill that you had on a Supercross track. I mean, you were a kid on a little mini 4-stroke.
Yeah.
But you look like a 450 guy on a 450, just the way you rode. And I remember being really impressed. And then I know you fell. I didn't know exactly what happened with the injury or what was the deal coming in. But that leads to my next question: is the Supercross skills. Like, I know you had your facility, I know, up in the high des. Was that something that just came natural to you as a rider? Did you have to work at that? I mean, I just remember visually watching and going, man, that he looks like a 450 rider out there, but he's just a kid. So
yeah.
Just take me through that the prep for that, and just how you were able to look like that so young.
Yeah, I would say the technique, I've always had really good technique since I was on 50s. Like, I worked with Buddy Antonez then, and that just something that's burned into my head, like, balls of feet, squeeze in, and just standing upright and not dragging your leg. That sort of stuff kind of it's just always been pretty legit. And when I got on 80s and stuff, then my speed card started coming around and I was winning a lot. The technique helped so much. But yeah, like I was 12 years old the first time I raced Monster Cup, and I was the youngest kid to ever race it. And I got third the first moto, and I was maybe 95 pounds on a 112 Super Mini. So my technique had to be perfect, because if I cased anything, or I was just going to crash. I rode the pro circuit test track on the race bike like the week before, and I remember I cased a triple like maybe 2 feet barely, where any other kid would have been fine, and I cartwheeled like so bad. So I think growing up, I was so small that I had to focus on my technique a little bit more than kids that were bigger on mini bikes. And once I did grow up and got big on a bike, I kept that same really good technique. But yeah, that race, I was very kind of blown away when I showed up, how big the triple was, how big the finish line was. And it kind of scared me for sure. And I greased everything first try, luckily, just because I knew my wrist was not that good. But
yeah,
man,
you can't, don't be casing nothing or over jumping when you have an injury. And then the one that you do, you're just, the body's not going to be able to hang with something like that.
I wanted that race so bad. I remember that. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I mean, if I'm being fully honest, I was in the stands and I was drinking beer. So I don't remember everything, but I just remember Carson Mumford looking really dang good on a Supercross track then. And I mean, now we'll skip through kind of all the amateurs and get to last year, your rookie year. Dude, your guys' West Coast last year, which is funny because it started in Orlando. It's so confusing. But it was so stacked. There was so many riders, so many fast riders. And I remember watching you visually a couple of times, and you looked so good. But there was just like, it was always chaos and things. It just seemed like that coast was just a mess. And I don't know if it's because there was so many guys that were all fast and a lot of young guys. But just kind of take me through that rookie year where, again, I noticed the way you rode, but it didn't always match the results because it seemed like there was just weird things happening on that coast.
Dude, I don't even know where to start on that. Like, there were times that I just scratched my head and was like, is this even for me? Like, I don't know what, like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, to start it off, my first ever pro race, I kind of had the mindset like, okay, I'm going to go out, I'm going to set the tone as best as I can. And so when they dropped the green flag, I went out first, got a clear track, and got squirrely in some ruts and jumped and had to jump off my bike into the hay bales. First lap of my first ever. Like,
you're so like, this is not how you set the tone.
Yeah. And then like 3 laps later, I'm on a roll lap and get cleaned out by someone. And I'm like, dude, what is going on? So got cleaned out in the heat race, didn't even make the main. And so I'm like, dude, I don't know any successful riders that didn't make their first pro main. Like, I was like, I don't know what.
Hold on there. We got a 2-time outdoor champion who's missed a couple of main events. Ask J-Mart what it's like to miss a main or two.
You're right. You got me there. But then I showed up to Daytona, and now I'm in the B practice, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is better. Maybe it's slower paced. Should be better. Like, I've raced Daytona as an amateur. Let's go. I'm gonna get out first and practice again, try and just get clear track and ride today. I go out and I crash in the first turn. I'm like, dude, what is going on? And for all the people at home, they don't get to see any of this. They just see.
No, they don't even know.
Yeah, and they don't even see me on TV when I'm riding good or when I'm riding bad because I'm so far back. So it's just the second practice Daytona. I'm like, I'm gonna kind of just go out mid-pack this time, see if that helps. First turn pile up, I'm in it. I go to get on my bike and I'm on a hay bale. After picking it up, I go and I'm in neutral and I crash again. And I'm just like, dude, today it's just not starting off good.
Did you at any point think you're just gonna ride the bike to the airport and just get out of there? Like, I'm out of here.
There's so many times I wanted to, but like I just kept my head down. And then I turned it around today and I qualified 13th. And I put down a lap that I was like, oh, this is gonna be sick. And I'm 13th. And I look at the timing and we're all so close. I'm like, dude, this isn't right. Like, this sucks. I look at the 450s. I would have qualified like 10th in the 450 class. I'm like, dude, crazy. What? Like, what is going on? Yeah.
So the start of your rookie year was just confusing. You just didn't know what was going on.
It didn't make any sense. Like, I was just trying. And then it got to the point to where like I basically was just giving up. Like, I was just like, dude, like I'm training so hard during the week. I'm doing this. Like I started just like, dude, it was like I was getting depressed. Like I watch old videos of me last year and I'm like, dude, I asked my roommates, I'm like, was I like depressed or something? Like, what was going on? And they're like, dude, you suck to be around. You were in such a bad mood all the time. And I'm like, man, like this year, like it's been, even if I have bad days, like it's been just so more mellow and like I can just leave it on that day and not carry it over to the next. And just all around been happier. So, dude, it's been so much just easy.
Well, do you feel like, again, with the amateur career, the way it ended, the way the pro career started, then that, like, it was just, yeah, it was like I said,
Yeah.
sometimes like there's like bad momentum and you
Oh.
almost just have to like laugh, right? And be like, okay, okay, my hands are up. Whatever.
Yeah.
And then you got to like press reset and just be like, forget it all. I mean, is that kind of where you're at now, which is just like, I'm starting over. Like,
I was
just
hitting
get me out of that.
I was hitting the reset button every hour, dude. Every hour I was clicking that thing, but it just wasn't working. But
it was just making no noise. What's going on here? And then someone hits you and qualify.
Going into outdoors, like we were just struggling with everything, dude. Like we showed up to 3 races and had no gas to race. Like the things that were happening, like I don't even know, dude. Like, yeah, blew my mind.
But that's the thing, dude. And that's where I got to give you some credit in this interview. I didn't know we were going to get into these types of issues, but you don't hear a lot of these stories. But these things happen a lot.
No one cares.
A lot. And nobody knows about it. Well, and I would say not that many people are courageous enough to come out and just say it all. And again, your attitude about it seems to be like, God, I spiraled out of control and I'm going to fix it all now. So I applaud that. Yeah. But I don't think people realize that a lot of these things happen because a lot of people don't say, and to have you come out and say all these things, to me, that's very transparent. Me being in my position in the sport, I value that a lot. So I think a lot of people will too.
Yeah, it was just weird, dude. Like we were all trying so hard. Like there was times that me and my mechanic and Cody and his mechanic that we were just grinding, dude. Like on the track, off the track, during the week we're riding together and we show up on the races and like, dude, there was one race that neither of us got points. Like we both crashed out and like, or had a bike issue. And like, it was like, dude, all that work. And then we didn't even exist today in our sport. We like literally weren't here. Like it was crazy, but I definitely just hit the reset button after outdoors and took 3 weeks off. And then I went into the biggest, gnarliest boot camp that I don't know. Yeah, it was bad. So I think that's probably why I'm in such a better mood and happier now because I suffered so hard and now I can enjoy my training days and I can enjoy the long days of riding. And when Davey tells me I have 220s at a practice track, last year I would have probably wanted to go in my car and cry about it. But nowadays, like, dude, like I'm pumped. Like I'm like, oh, 220s. Yeah. Like this is going to feel good. It's going to feel great when I'm done with the day. And I can look back on how good I was riding and like, just different mindset.
I don't think people realize that either, how if you are emotionally tough spot, it's hard to work hard because you just feel like what for. But if you're in a good spot emotionally and you're like you said, the reset, you're feeling you want to do 20s. Let's do another one because you don't want to cut corners because you feel like there's hope. Is that kind of what's going on with you? Is this belief, this hope that you're like, okay, now bring it on. I'll work 10 times harder because I have hope in something.
It's mind blowing, honestly. Like Davey had told me so many times, like I probably 100 times since I started working with him through the end of the Supercross season before I got hurt and then into outdoors and through outdoors. I'm telling you, you're going to have a breakthrough, dude. You're going to have it. Don't quit. You're going to have a breakthrough. And trust me, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to want to train. You're going to feel weird if you don't go train. You're going to feel weird if you skip a moto. You're going to do
like guilty, right? Like you're going to feel guilty. Like, how could I cheat myself?
Or like, I'm so in tune with my body now that like, if I don't do a moto, I feel like my mind starts going, you just lost a moto. Like that's the end of the world. Like these other guys are going to catch you, you know, like it's so weird how last year I was trying to do anything to dodge motos. Like it was mind blowing. And yeah, it's just the whole different mindset is just, it's insane.
I'm going to throw a real question at you. We're going to get real here for a second. But do you think that you being a talented rider, a lot of skill, success as an amateur, maybe kind of gave you the feeling like the training, yeah, I understand it exists, but I know that I'm good enough. I don't need it. And now you're like, the best of the best of the best have to grind. Was there any kind of a transformation with that where maybe you relied on your talent? I could be way off here. I'm just spitballing here, but did you maybe rely on your skill set and think that that would be a way to kind of cut some corners?
Oh, I would say so. Like my first year on outdoors, like, and there's always still guys, like still pro riders that can get away with it. Like, I'm just not that guy. Like, there's still riders out there that they work really hard, but maybe not to the extent of other people. And that's fine. But I have to take it to the point to where it's as hard as you can work. I think I always joke and say I used up all my talent as an amateur, but
okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I think maybe my first ever outdoor season, I was like, and I was still getting like ninths and stuff. And I was like,
right.
Oh, whatever. Like, my diet was terrible. I was having Red Bulls and caramel fraps up to the gauge drop and was like, whatever, I'll puke it out there. I don't care. Like, but yeah, it's another thing is like, once you get into such good shape, that kind of Davies told me, is like, you can't get away with that stuff because every little thing matters. Like before, like I was doing so many little things that were terrible for me that it was like doing another little thing didn't really matter at all. Like there was days that I would sleep in and then go ride later. It was like, I was just like,
so just there was just not enough discipline pretty much to just stay on course.
Yeah. I was still working hard. But yeah, it just was like, whatever, I'll ride later or whatever. Now it's like, if I even looked at dairy, I'm in the toilet. It ruins my week. Like it's just, I'm on a different level now.
That's wild. And for everybody listening who's like, you keep saying Davey Millsaps is who we're talking about, everybody. There's not many Davies in this sport. There's the Davey for me, Davey Millsaps. But and how is Davey these days? How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's a lot, dude. He just is. I can't sneak anything by him. I can't sneak his lemonade in here. I can't do nothing. He lives with me. He's probably in my living room listening to me right now. So he's been good. It's gnarly. It's just something that I wasn't ever used to growing up, and then now all of a sudden it's at the top.
All right, so this is brand new on Beyond the Track. I've never done this before, but we're going off of my little area because I got something I do want to show you. So we don't do this. By the way, have you ever seen one of these? The little boot warmers?
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's a little boot warmer. That's the sickest invention ever. So I don't normally do this on Beyond the Track, folks, but we're going mobile for a second because I have to show you something absolutely hilarious. So about a week ago, I literally got this box off my here it is. I got this box off my little racks up here that I have stuff. And I found this. And I don't know the year. Here, I'm going to lay it out. Hold on one second, everybody. Sorry, this is bad show, guys. But I got this for you, dude. Around. I don't even know how. But I've got this.
No way.
And I don't know where I got it. No Fear 188 Millsaps jersey. And I'm going through this box. Suzuki, look at this. Suzuki, dude. It's burned on the front, so I don't know what happened to him.
Check this one out, dude.
I'm wondering if that's got to be the same time then, right? It
says
188.
Vegas Supercross 05 on mine.
It's got to be that because this is a 188. He wouldn't have had that for more than this. So, yeah.
Wow.
There it is. Yeah, so it's funny that we're just talking about him because I just went through this box and it's got like some old stuff for me. And I'm like, where did this Davey Millsaps jersey come from? So I have no idea where it came from. But tell Davey if he wants it back, he can hit me on my Venmo.
Yeah,
and, I'll send it back to him.
I'll tell you what, he's definitely not fitting into that little thing anymore.
No, he's not. How's Davey's diet? How's he doing these days? Is he working hard too?
He's working hard when he's living with me because he's got no choice, but he definitely has his family. And when he goes home, I'll catch him with those milkshakes, dude. I swear.
He sneaks in a milkshake.
Yeah.
That's funny. No, I love Davey, and I mean, I think it's great too that you've got him in your corner. I mean, he's been so successful. He's again, and I correct me if I'm wrong here, but he was another rider who was extremely talented and then had to figure out
Oh, for sure.
to work crazy hard. Like he was always so talented, crazy talent. But it seemed like for him there was a transition too, where it was like he learned how to work super hard. Does he share those kind of stories with you and just his own
Oh yeah,
transformation?
for sure. He definitely lets me know, like, after the outdoor season, dude, I was so over it. Like, I was like, man, like, I don't understand. Like, I was so good, so successful at one point, and I had all these hopes and dreams, and I'm not living up to it. It's a tough pill to swallow for sure. And like, I was just like, dude, like, I'm at that time I was working with Davey and I was working really hard, but yeah, I just, like, my results weren't getting that much better. And it's hard to believe him when he's like, hey, I'm telling you, if you just stick with this, you'll see a breakthrough and you'll feel better. Cause I was not feeling better at the time. So I was like, man, it's like, is this even for me? Like, and he just had a really big heart to heart and was like, dude, I'm telling you, I wish I would have known what I've known when I was your age, because I was thinking the same thing you were thinking when I wasn't winning. And dude, I'm telling you, just listen to me and trust me, and you'll feel a difference. And yeah, dude, I took it serious, and yeah, I feel way better for sure.
Cool. So we'll start winding this thing down. Let's talk on 2022 season coming in. Again, big change for you, heading to Suzuki, big reset. You're in shape and ready. What kind of expectations do you have, I would say, in the short and long term? Because I think I would assume that, I mean, you want to be a champion, right? There's no one at your level with your skill set who doesn't want to be a champion someday.
Yep.
But I think you're probably smart enough to realize that there's a progression, right? You have to chip away. So what's your thoughts on 2022 on that progression? What are we aiming for that you feel would be a step towards where you want to eventually end up, which is to be a Supercross champ?
Dude, this question is so hard because it's like last year I come in, I'm like, first year on Supercross, oh, I'm gonna kill it. You know, like everybody's in my ear, like you are, like man, I've watched you ride. You have such good skills. And then it was just nothing seemed to go my way. I don't know if it was I wasn't taking it serious enough or the stars just weren't lining up. But dude, I came in with high hopes last year and was devastated. Like it almost was just, it felt like at the time career ending, even though my career was just starting. But yeah, this year coming in, like my best finish is a 12th in Supercross. And to me, like,
I think you could smoke that at the first one pretty easy, dude.
It's like, man, like, yeah, like 12th place that was the only main event I didn't crash in last year. Like I only got to ride, I think I only got to actually ride like 3 or 4 main events last year. All the other ones I crashed out of, or I crashed and I got to pick up my bike and I got 19th. So I got dead last. So yeah, the only main I didn't crash in, I got 12th and could have gotten top 10. But since I had no idea what I was doing, I got 12th. So yeah, coming into this year, like I feel like my skills are just twice as good as last year. I'm sharper. I can do all the motos. I can do everything. I'm so much more in tune with my body and my bike. The team is just awesome. So I would love to go out and blow my personal record out of the water first round. Like that's
I think you could do it. I think you could do it, dude.
I would love to the very first round and knock it out of the way. And then at that point, reevaluate my goals and try and build. Like was hard for me last year in Supercross to try and build because I couldn't build off of anything. Like it was like I went out and then the bar was set so low that it was like, dude, just qualify for the main event. Like the bar was that low. And then once I got in the main event, it was like the bar was just so low when I could have been like trying to focus on getting in the top 10 and doing good and riding. Right. But like the bar was just non-existent.
Which is weird too, right? Because you come in high hopes, round one goes crazy, and now you're like, okay, let's just get in there. When really, you know that would never be the standard just to get in the main. That wouldn't be your standard, but it had to be because it was all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. When outdoors, I actually got to build and like I got to ride and you know, I got to do good and I got to do bad. Like I got to build on something, and like at the tail end of my outdoor season, I was like I wasn't happy with anything unless like all day long I'm like single digit. If it's not a single digit, I'm not happy at all. Like whether it's qualifying, whether it's my start, whether it's the first moto, second moto, I want single digit. So yeah, dude, I would love to go out there and beat my personal record. Like I'm probably 3 to 4 times better in everything in life compared to last year. So it would be nice to definitely go out there, be better, and deal with the circumstances. I'm sure I'm gonna freaking at some point in the season jump off into the hay bales, and I'm gonna get taken out, and I'm gonna fall in the first turn, and I'm gonna do all the stuff that I did last year. Hopefully not, but like that's just how it goes. Like
part of it, right? And instead of letting it spiral, just
try and shrug it off. Like
just reset, press reset again if you land on the blocks, dude.
Yeah.
What number are you now? What'd you get to?
43 is my
43.
number. Yep.
Okay, so
I was 30.
39.
43 was 39 last year.
How did you get such a low number when you didn't do Supercross the year before?
And I only did 9 rounds of outdoors.
How'd that even happen? It makes no. I mean, I guess I have to go look at the math, but that doesn't make sense.
And I wasn't even like training that hard, dude. I was just out there riding.
I'm just thinking from a math standpoint, like how many points did you have? Yeah, it makes well, whatever. Anyways, 43 is cool. And then what's Schwartz? He's 40. Low too, right?
Yeah, he's
40, 43. He's triple digits again, right?
Yep. His last year was a wash. He just had 2 heart surgeries, a broken femur, like added to the list of stuff. Yeah. But
that was crazy.
68.
Yeah, he snuck some in there at the end, right? He got and he did a couple even earlier, I thought too. So dang, so it's crazy that Drake, the most experienced one, he's the triple digit guy, and he's the guy that's done the most of these things.
Oh, he's led the most laps as a pro too. Like there's still races that I watch on GoPro on YouTube all the time of him pulling hole shots at races, and dude, guys like Ferrandis and Cincerello, like they couldn't do anything with him. Like he was just riding good until he got tired. So yeah, that guy is like definitely coming in under the radar.
Yeah, I love it for all you guys too. Schwartz too. Schwartz had a good summer, and I feel like same with you. Like the Supercross season didn't go as well as it could, and I just feel like you guys all are like just ready to burst. You know what I mean? And that's what's got me fired up. And again, I got a super soft spot for Suzuki. My son rides an RM85.
Yep.
My favorite years ever were always on RM. So I'm super stoked for you guys. And again, I love all your stories because it seems like you all got something to prove, and you all got reason to be pretty fired up, which is motivating, you know?
Yeah, no, it's obviously not what you want. You don't want to have like the biggest chip on your shoulder and reasons to go that extra mile, but it's sometimes what you need, you know?
Cooper Webb finds a way to, I mean, he's like the only person on the planet that can run a number 1 plate and have a chip on his shoulder. So it's
he'll go out there.
It works.
He'll go out
he
there.
He finds a way. He finds a way to make himself have a chip every time. It's like the guy's, he's mental warrior, man.
Red plate one, and he's the underdog somehow. You're like, what?
Yeah. So last question for you. Just again, this one's just kind of broad, loose, but A1's coming up. A1 is A1. It's just, there's something about it that's special. I mean, I don't know how many times you've been to A1 in your life. That just, what's it feel like for you to finally get to do an A1, which I know you've watched how many years of your life, and now you get to do an opener?
Dude, A1 is very special for me and my parents and our whole family, because my whole family is heavy into moto. Like my mom's mom raced dirt bikes. My dad raced dirt bikes. My dad's dad raced dirt bikes. My cousins. So it's like everybody at some point tried racing or whatever. You there? What was that?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
It's all good.
Tried racing, and you know, it seems like I was always that little kid in the family that, you know, they were always trying to take me under their wing and go riding on every weekend and stuff. And I know that they'll all be there. It's all hometown for everyone. So it'll be cool. Like A1 is always just so exciting because it seems like all the riders are fresh and not a lot of them are injured just because the season's just getting going. And new bikes, new teams. Like, it's the first time to put it all to the test. So I'm excited. Like, I've gotten to ride in the stadium a few times, but yeah, I mean, anything riding in the stadium is so awesome. And just to make it at A1 is awesome.
I'm going to make a prediction. It's going to be really loud in there.
Yeah.
I think the fans are like, yeah, we're back. So I just, fingers crossed, we get into that building, dude. And I think it's going to rock in there, man. I think people are going to be pretty stoked.
I hope so, man. Like, when I raced Monster Cup when I was a little kid, it was just unlike anything else. And then going pro, and then there's no one in the stands, I'm like, what the heck? But
yeah, you're like, this is weird.
Yeah, it's so nice having all the fans and everything. Like, even in my darkest times last year, when there was fans and opening ceremonies and stuff going on, it made it just that light at the end of the tunnel of like, oh man, this is my dream, you know?
Well, ready to live it again, bro. That's the best part of this sport is if you get knocked down, you can get back up if you want to. Sounds like you have, man. And I enjoyed talking to you. Thanks for telling and sharing your story. And dude, let's make some things happen this year. I'm pumped for you.
Sounds good. Yeah, I look forward to it.